You're listening to the Connect, Grow, Multiply podcast from your friends at Green Acres. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Connect, Grow, Multiply podcast. I'm Hickson Frank, sitting across from my favorite pastor.
Does your brother know that?
Favorite Texas pastor. Okay. Favorite pastor in this current room right now, Michael Gossett.
Yeah.
Man, what a whirlwind few weeks we have had.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's been so good. We started this prayer night.
You've had a baby.
This prayer gather. I'm sorry?
You've had a baby added
I
to your
had
family.
a baby. Would y'all like to see the baby? We'll put it online. We'll post him online if I can get permission from his parents. But he's got a great name. You want to know his name?
Let's hear it.
His name is John Hickson. And I know you know that. I tell people it's John Hickson, and the John is silent. So we just go straight with Hickson. Mom and baby healthy. Everybody's great. My wife's on the way back down to Austin to take care of them. Anyway, so it's been busy.
To be clear,
yes,
it was a grandbaby.
Grandbaby. That's probably an important distinction.
I said that you had a baby.
I did. I had a grandbaby.
You had a grandbaby.
Yeah. My son keeps saying he's his son. I'm like, no, he's my grandson.
Yeah.
So having fun. But we started something that I'm really excited about, and I know this is really you've been wanting to do this for a couple of years, and you pulled the trigger, and it's been remarkable. And that's our Wednesday night prayer gathering.
Yeah,
and it's there's something that can't be explained when you get a group of people together, and they pray.
Yeah,
and it's what I like about it is it's not terribly produced. It's prepared. It's not produced.
Lot of preparation, no gimmicks.
And not that there's gimmicks on Sunday, but things run very tight.
Yeah.
You leave room on Wednesday nights for the Spirit to move.
Yeah.
And for God just to do what He wants to do, and He has. Last week, we did something pretty special. You did, and that is you asked folks to come forward with the names of people that they really want to see come to faith.
Yeah.
And you committed us to praying for them, which we're doing.
I have mine right here. My cards are right here.
Oh, there. Okay. The aisle was flooded with people who have friends.
We were actually unprepared for it.
We didn't have enough cards, did we?
We ran out of cards.
Just so special.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Not that we were unprepared, but that we had
that
many people, because you always want to have people in your life who don't know Jesus, meaning that you're spending time getting to know people that need to know the Lord.
That's right.
That you have something that they need.
That's right.
And so many times we can get caught in our own biblical community, and which is so good and so needed.
Yep.
That we forget that we have community so that we may continue to live on mission.
Exactly.
So it's pretty special.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it is, you say it best, but it's that tension because we want so much to create this great sense of belonging. But it's easy just to kind of stay under the belonging covers.
It's safe.
Stay warm and safe, and these are my buddies, but God does tell us to go, doesn't He?
That's right.
He tells us to go. Hey, we're going to tackle something today. You have mentioned it several times in messages, and it always is an emotional thing because it really applies to everybody across the board.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about forgiveness.
Yeah.
Who does a Christian forgive? How do they forgive? What's necessary for it to forgive? I wrote down a little story, and it happened week before last. Talking to a man who was struggling to forgive somebody. He was after one of your messages, and he wanted to talk, and he was really struggling to forgive someone who had, from his perspective, really wounded and betrayed him. And this was a guy really my age, so mid-50s, late 50s, okay, in all honesty. But he's about my age. And I said with sincerity, forgiving them is your get-out-of-jail-free card. I was kind of playing on some things that you had said in the message. Because when you forgive somebody, you are really the one who benefits from it. Among others, of course, they are as well. But he responded flippantly, and he kind of said, that was easy for me to say.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I thought, if you had any idea, because I'm just like everybody else, but if we had any idea the level to which we need to forgive other people, if I knew what you had gone through, Michael, and I don't. I know some, but I don't know all. for you to be able to tell somebody, no, it benefits you to forgive because I know you've had to do it. He didn't know I'd had to do it. I think maybe he thought I was a minister and, there's always a bluebird on my shoulder and everything's happy, happy, joy, joy, nothing ever happens. But when I told him that, I was like, I can almost guarantee you. We went a little bit further into it, but we've all been deeply wounded.
Yeah.
By whatever. It could be a family member, which is so difficult. It could be someone that you trusted, that you got feel betrayed by.
Right.
Truthfully, we do a lot of wounding to other people, and we don't even know it. So it can be intentional, it can be unintentional. But forgiveness. Obviously, we're told we got to forgive other people. Let me read a passage, and then we'll jump in with both feet. Luke 6:37 and 38 says, "Do not judge, and you will not be judged." Okay. "Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned." All right. "Forgive, and you will be forgiven."
Yeah.
Ouch. "Given, it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you." There's so much in there, but we'll spend some time on the forgive, and it will be forgiven unto you. Why do you think it is so difficult to forgive other people? You said something in a sermon, hold you to your own words. You said, it almost feels absurd that God asks us to forgive people who intentionally wound, betray, or steal from us,
Yeah.
and to move ahead like nothing happened. Tell us what you thought. Tell us your thoughts on that.
Well, Jesus is, this is in the Sermon on the Mount, and according to Luke, and Jesus is addressing universal problems. Mm-hmm. So there is nothing that Jesus is saying that does not apply to everyone. Yeah. And so immediately we have to enter ourselves into the teaching and place ourselves at the feet of Jesus and say, Lord, teach me whatever it is that I need. Because there are many times that we think to ourselves, well, this doesn't apply to me here, or like kind of what you're saying, we kind of justify our disobedience to a degree because, well, you don't understand what has happened to me personally. You don't understand if I do this, what they're going to do in return, or how they're going to retaliate, or whatever that is, right? But basically, instead of keeping the words of Jesus at arm's length, the first step that we need to do is recognize that these are intimate words from Jesus, who knows you and knows your circumstance. And so there's nobody who is outside of this teaching. But it does feel like, okay, well, if I forgive them, and once again, we don't know anybody's story. Right. And you may know somebody intimately, but no matter what, you're not going to know that individual's heart to know really what are they bitter about. Right. It will come out at times, but at the end of the day, there are just many hidden wounds that Christians carry because we don't know what to do with them. We're scared to expose our wounds. Yeah. We're scared to take that next step because it is a step of faith, and it's a blind step to a degree. It is. But the promise is really good, though. What Jesus says. Right. But when he says, "Do not judge, you will not be judged. Do not condemn, you won't be condemned." So he gives two negatives and then the positive, right? Forgive and you will be forgiven. So first of all, we need to understand what is judgment and what is condemnation, and how does that creep into our lives? What is real forgiveness, and how are we to extend that to others? But what we also have to be cautious of this as well, because we cannot think that Jesus reacts to our behavior. So Jesus is not reactionary. God is not a reactionary God. He goes before us, behind us. He hems us in. He walks beside us. So what I mean by that is we cannot say, okay, if I don't judge, then I will not be judged. Right. Okay. Right. If I don't condemn, then I will not be condemned. If I forgive, then I will be forgiven. the forgiveness from Christ is not based on anything other than the work of Christ himself. So what he is teaching here is, what does it look like for those who have already been saved? Those who are disciples of Jesus, what this is going to look like is you're not going to be judgmental. You're not going to be condemning. You're going to be forgiving. Negative, positive. And so when we think about judgment, this is the one Bible verse that every pagan knows.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, if you think about it throughout history, the world will cry. This is like their mantra. Like anytime that there is an act of accountability, or if I come to you and say, man, hey, I saw you get a little sharp with somebody. Is everything okay? It would be easy to say, man, you don't judge me.
Don't judge me. That's right.
That's what the world does, right?
Right.
The world acts however they want. And then if somebody says anything critical about that, then their cry is, I thought you weren't supposed to judge.
That's right.
Well, that's not what judgment is.
Right.
Judgment and condemnation, the way these things are tethered together is that I am looking down on you with a declaration of finality. So I am saying to you that because of whatever you did, ultimately saying God is done with you.
Right.
Okay, there is no hope for you. And so you're actually speaking hopelessness into someone's life rather than life into their life, right? And so that's the difference that we have to really be careful with, because what not judging others is a great cry from the world, but it is a really terrible way to live.
Yeah.
Because judgment is also a good thing. Jesus, just in the next chapter, in the next section of Scripture, is going to talk about the fruit, whether it's real or not. And well, how do you know someone? Well, you know them by their fruit. You and I, we can't look at people's hearts. We can't determine what their heart is doing, but we can see the fruit. That's judgment. I'm judging to a degree with discernment. So we would use those words differently, right? We would say discern rather than judge, just to create, just to eliminate any, false understanding of the way that I'm coming to you. But this is a way that Paul told Timothy, hey, this is how you are to choose elders. Make sure you judge them accordingly. Make sure you look at the fruit. Make sure you look at the way they run their household. Look at their godliness. Look at the way that they're serving. So all of those things are fruits to be judged to a degree, but not for the sake of condemnation. So judgment, if you think about it like in a courtroom setting, okay, judgment is maybe the lawyer bringing the case forward, right? So you're basically putting together a case against an individual. So when you judge people in an unrighteous way, what you're doing is you're putting yourself in the place of a lawyer to bring about a case for why that individual should be locked away, right? But then Jesus takes it a step further. And in that courtroom setting, when we think of condemnation, what you're doing is you are putting yourself in the seat of the judge to determine a verdict over their life.
Right.
So those are kind of the tie-ins there, the way that Jesus is using judge and condemnation.
Right.
And those are the negative ways, right? That's negative. But then he flips to the positive. And that's where it really gets hard.
Yeah, that is good.
Because every single person needs to forgive.
Yeah.
Every person will have to forgive. And every person has been wounded. Every person has been betrayed. Every person has had a reason to lose trust in someone.
Yeah.
All of those things Jesus is bringing about, recognizing a universal problem that the disciples of Jesus are not excluded from.
Yeah. I loved as I mentioned earlier, I loved when you said, we do see it. It's absurd for God to ask me to forgive, again, fill in the blank, whoever it is. So what do we tell somebody What kind of practical insight can we give to someone? Let's say that something really, it's not that they got hurt because somebody, whatever, said something, offhanded comment, a throwaway comment that just hurt them. But that's a whole nother story. I would say overlook that offense. I mean, at some point, maturity's got to take over. But really somebody who has been wronged and they have had something removed from them, maybe the extreme cases. I've told you this story before. I'll tell it real quickly, but really kind of a mentor of mine who died recently, and he had a daughter who's, the long story is just in the details, but the bottom line was her husband, his daughter's husband, abused his granddaughter, his special needs granddaughter. And you can imagine as a man, you find out about it and that's not okay. So much so, then he also abused his daughter in various ways, and so much so that pressed charges, the guy's in jail. Okay, I mean, it wasn't just an accusation, it was proven. It was terrible. And my friend, here's what he said, something that I really will never forget. From a human perspective, he said, forgiveness. He walked through the story. He said, every time I thought about that man who abused my daughter and my granddaughter, every time I thought I wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
This is a pastor.
Yeah.
I wanted to kill him. And I prayed, God, just help me not want to kill him. And he felt like he got freedom for it for a few minutes. And whenever his name came up, it lessened. And he said, what I realized over that time, so 5 minutes of freedom became an hour, became actively praying for that man, even though he was still angry as he could be. Again, he's a guy. That's what we do. But he said, forgiveness from a human perspective, it needs constant attention because it creeps back up on you. So it's almost always followed by a comma, not a period. Now, God's forgiveness is followed by a period. It's over. It's done. For us, just from a human perspective, it's followed by a comma because our enemy will bring it back up, our sin nature will bring it back up, etc. And that was very encouraging for me because I was beating myself up that I wouldn't forgive so-and-so for what they did, right?
Sure.
And so from a practical standpoint, one of our listeners probably is going through something. They can't forgive a parent. They can't forgive a friend. They can't forgive an employee or an employer, somebody who robbed took something from them. What are some practical, maybe postures to have? I think of things like understanding how much we have been forgiven, because we got to always remember we have wounded others too. As pristine and angelic as we are, as you and I are,
Sure.
certainly,
we
have wounded other people.
Yeah.
We are the object of their frustration and whatever, anger. So I think of remembering God's forgiveness of us.
Well, it's kind of like what you were hinting at before. I mean, so many times we think that mistakenly that we think forgiveness is excusing unrighteous behavior or excusing, hurt, abuse. That is not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not excusing somebody's behavior. It's not enabling, because we also think, well, if I forgive them, what if they keep doing what they're doing?
Right.
And once again, we're misplacing our role and our work in this. And
That's it.
Because we think that, okay, if I forgive them, then I can't fix them.
Right.
Well, we're not the fixers.
We're not supposed to fix them anyway.
Unfortunately, we're not.
No,
And so there's this lack of trust and my inability to forgive. It is always because of a lack of trust with how God is going to handle this. If I don't handle it the way I know it should be handled,
That's right.
then I am not trusting in how God is going to handle this.
Yeah.
And so you think of the worst cases, like there's no way this dude does deserve to be in prison. But if I forgive that person, what is that going to say to a juror, or what is that going to say
Right.
to whatever?
Yeah.
And so we just kind of misplace what our role is.
Yeah.
And then in doing so, we actually imprison ourselves
That's right.
in this trap of bitterness and unforgiveness that you can't dig your way out of through
right.
other means. It is only through the door of forgiveness that you get out of that trap.
Oh, that's good.
And so we just can't pretend that we have a different role than what we really do. Forgiveness is also not forgetting.
Right.
You're not going to forget. You're not a goldfish.
Right.
Okay. As much as I want to be a
right,
goldfish,
Coach Lasso. That's right.
as much as I want to be a goldfish, man, I remember, I remember this in football. Like my coach used to tell me that. Before Ted Lasso, of course, but my coach used to tell me, he was like, man, have a mind of a goldfish, short-term memory.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, short-term memory. That's what he would say all the time. It was great advice. But I always remembered the bad pass.
remember.
We just
That's
ran
right.
this play, and I threw it 6 yards past the receiver. Okay, now what am I going to do this time? Am I going to...
Well, it's clearly the receiver's fault. Blame
Well,
the
he
receiver.
didn't run fast enough.
Clearly.
Okay. Did I have too much zip on the ball? Maybe.
Maybe.
But catch
Maybe.
up.
Enthusiasm.
Okay.
Sure.
Anyways, we would love to have that, right? That we just forget. Okay. Forgive and forget.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that?
All the
Forgive
time.
and forget.
Forgive and forget.
Okay. Well, that's not biblical.
Yeah, it's spiritual. Oh, hey, let it go. Forgive and forget. Well,
Yeah. Great advice from Elsa. Poor spiritual advice, actually. Okay.
That's right.
And so don't get into that trap. Well, I mean, I remember what they did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you can't forgive.
Right. That's good.
Forgiveness is the ability to remember,
Yeah.
although you have been offended, although there is an offense against you. It's the ability to remember that I was in offense to God. Like I was against the Lord. I was an enemy of God, and he saved me.
Yeah.
And he lavished his forgiveness out on me. And so every time that we have this lack of forgiveness in our lives, it's because we have forgotten what Jesus has done for us.
Yeah.
We have forgotten the mercy that God has shown us and the grace that he has given us. And then when I forget that part of my relationship with Christ, that is day after day, every single morning his mercies are new. Every
single
morning. Why? Because I need it every single morning, because I'm going to wake up wicked again. I'm going to wake up in need of God's grace again.
Yeah.
And still, he forgives over and over and over. He has forgiven my past, present, and future sin. But it's not because we have forgotten the offense.
That's exactly right.
It's because we remember what forgiveness we have in Christ himself.
Yeah, I think that's so appropriate. It's very real. If we hold an offense long enough, and I don't want to go down the rabbit hole too far, but if we hold on to an offense long enough, it almost becomes part of who we are.
Right.
And we don't want to, and it's comforting. It's our little pet, because then it's like, it isn't my fault for whatever. We can figure out ways to blame anything on anybody. But when it becomes part of who we are, it taints and it bends us in a way that is so unhealthy. So when I love what Christians do. This is how I don't love it. I'm being sarcastic. But if you have a grudge against somebody and their name comes up in a conversation, we may not overtly speak ill of them, but our feigned, and we don't have to join in the accolades necessarily, but we have ways of saying things and getting a point across.
Yeah.
Because if we don't do that, then they're winning.
Right.
Right? And
Right.
it's human nature, right? But it isn't Christ's nature. It's not God's nature. It's not the new nature in us.
Right.
And I do think you nailed it. I mean, the challenge is we do have to give up control. We have to give up the right to punish them. Again, it doesn't mean that my illustration earlier doesn't mean that they didn't testify in court that guy abused his granddaughter and daughter. Doesn't mean you don't speak the truth, but there is still the mandate to forgive. And it is so supernatural, I guess is the point. It's so supernatural.
Well, it is supernatural. And in the case of that, I mean, think about it, because that is, with me, I don't want people to think they won.
Mm-hmm.
That's how broken my heart is.
Yep.
Somebody that did wrong to me, I want them to know that they're acting ungodly.
That's
that
right.
They're not acting in the way that God's word says. They're the ones in the wrong.
Yeah.
And I want them to know that. And it just reminds me of 2 Chronicles chapter 20. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm even blanking on. I can't remember if it was before Joash or if it was Joash, but Israel obviously is about to go to battle again. They're coming down on Jerusalem, and I think it's verse 12 that they say, "We do not know what to do, so we look to you." It's like a hidden gem in there.
That's awesome. We got to find
We
that.
do not know what to do, but we look to you.
Yeah.
And then the Lord says to them around verse 16 and 17, he says, position yourselves, get ready, go face the enemy, but this battle is not yours.
It's not yours. Yeah.
The battle belongs to the Lord. How, we see that all throughout the Old Testament. The battle belongs to the Lord. It's the same thing with forgiveness. Because when we pretend like I have to fight this battle,
That's right.
or the Lord's not going to do his job, and
Right.
holding them accountable, I have to do it. I have
Sure.
to hold them accountable. I have to make sure that they know what they did was wrong, or they're not going to know. And I just don't trust that God is going to do what he needs to do.
that's right.
As if we know. And it's just a simple reminder, brother, sister, whoever it is, man, that battle is not yours.
That's right.
And we will cling to the offense
Oh, man.
when we think that
Yep.
the battle belongs to us.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's
The
right.
good thing is that it's not your battle, but it is your victory.
That's right. That's exactly
Like
right.
it's the most absurd thing.
Yeah.
Like you don't know, you're not going to fight. It's not your battle, but here's your victory.
When you win. That's
because
right.
that is how God works.
That's right.
And who knows what needs to happen in that individual's life?
Yeah.
The one who did you wrong. Like, I mean, call a spade a spade. They wronged you.
Right.
It's okay. It hurts. It stings. But our battle is not against flesh and blood. It is against the domain of darkness,
Yeah.
the prince of darkness, the rulers of this world. And as soon as we just flip that just a little bit, then we are going to cling to bitterness rather than the victory of Christ himself. And you cannot cling to bitterness and the victory of Christ at the same time. You can only cling to one or the other. And so you have to make a conscious decision. I am going to cling to Christ today and trust him completely, because that's what it comes down to is, do I trust God to handle this?
That's it. It's faith.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Do I trust God or not?
Yeah.
Do I trust that he's going to take vengeance and be just and righteous in the way that he says that he is?
Yeah.
And if so, then he's going to handle it.
He's going to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This came up middle end of last week with someone my wife and I are very close to, who was in a situation where she had felt absolutely betrayed and just was watching them ascend. It was one of the people at work, and my wife asked a great question. She said, with no condemnation, with no "come on, you're better than this." It was hey, the first step is start to pray for the person who wronged you. And it was received like, are you joking? Pray for them. Yeah, pray that God heaps hot coals on them. You know, pray that their car doesn't start. But what? And then
I'm real quick to pray some imprecation on
God's
those
wrath
jokers.
on you,
Yeah,
a pox on your home. But I took that to heart. It wasn't applying to me, but I applied it to myself, and I thought, I don't think I've got enemies, but I do have people who I kind of tense up when their name comes up. And I thought, well, that shows lack of forgiveness in my own heart.
Yeah.
In a very practical sense. And then I committed to praying for them. And what God will show us, you know this and I know this, but if we will just step out of the way, allow God to work in their lives, just like he's working in our lives when we let him, whether we let him or not, he's working. But when we allow him to do that, and then we see maybe weeks later, months later, years later, and maybe we never get to see it, but what you will watch is that God does work in other people's lives. He may bring them to redemption. May bring them to catastrophe. But either way, when you step back and you just say, God, I can't fight this, to your point, there is a remarkable sense of peace that comes over yourself. There's also a remarkable sense of God really does move on our behalf.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily, thankfully, he doesn't move how I want them to. There'd be fewer people in the world, right?
Yeah.
But he does move. And I love that so much. You said something else in a sermon recently. You said, you cannot magnify the faults of others and magnify Christ at the same time.
Yeah.
That really hit me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
When we are unable to forgive, it's because we have held on to the offense. We replay it in our minds.
Yeah.
And every time we do that, we dig the well of bitterness deeper and deeper. And we keep drinking from the well of bitterness. And what that does in return is as we are reminded of their faults, we want to remind them of their faults, okay?
Yeah,
because
that's
it is going to, whatever is in your heart is going to flow from you in action, behavior, and in what you say. Yeah. We're not called to be ambassadors of offenders, right? We're not called to be the ambassadors of judgment.
Yeah.
Instead of magnifying the faults of others, what we are called to do is magnify the character of Christ in us.
Yeah.
Paul says in Ephesians chapter 5, therefore be imitators of God as beloved children.
Yeah.
And walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us. Mm-hmm. Ephesians 4:32 says, be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you.
That's right.
And so if you get to that point to where you recognize, man, I got to let go here. I got to forgive.
That's right.
And you're just finding yourself unable to do it, you're in a really, really good spot.
Yeah.
You're in a really good spot because the Lord works in mysterious ways. He works in divine ways, best in the moments we realize we can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Because I can't forgive. I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
It's easier to cling to the fault or the offense. But if you can get to that point of realizing, okay, I have to forgive and I can't do it. Well, just start praying Ephesians 5:1-2.
Yeah.
Over and over. God, make this true in my life. Don't worry about praying for that person yet. Just pray Ephesians 5:1-2. Do it for 7 days straight, every single morning. God, help me to be an imitator of you. Mm-hmm. Remind me that I am one of your children that you love and that you delight in me.
Yeah.
Help me to walk in love as Christ loved me and gave himself up for me. And then start praying Ephesians 4:32. God, help me to be kind to others. Help me to be tenderhearted. Help me to forgive others as you forgave me in Christ Jesus himself. And then start praying for whoever offended you by name.
Yeah.
And pray that God would bless them.
That's right. Oh, that's so good.
Not hold them accountable, not
Yeah.
not like the psalmists break their teeth in. Those are fun to
Those are good. Those, yeah.
But pray, God, help me to forgive.
Yeah. Yeah. God, open their eyes, open my eyes. Man, that's good. I think probably going back to the prayer gathering.
Yeah.
what I love so much about it is, we do a lot of Christian activity here. And it's good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Bible studies are great. Men's groups are great.
All have purpose.
Yeah, they all have a purpose. But stopping for an hour where we sing a few songs, but we pray, it is such a refocus. And it's first of all, it's humble.
Yeah.
But it is, I've just loved what I've seen and talking to men and women who come out of that. There's just a softness to them, which I would argue is really the key to reestablishing relationships and forgiveness. In my mind, it's never harder to forgive someone than someone who's either you're married to them or they're in their extended family.
Yeah.
But what you have said, what if husbands, you thought, help me, God, understand my wife's perspective. Help me to forgive whatever. Strengthen her. All of the prayers that are for their benefit, not to fix them.
Yeah.
We say something and re-engage. We say it all the time. And that is the only person you can fix is yourself, and you really can't do that. You just ask God to fix you, bring things to mind. And so what if that became our prayer? And I think of days when, what if everybody who's worshiping on Sunday mornings in our, the 4,000, however many people are worshiping with us, what if every single one of us walked in forgiveness?
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that be incredible? That would be incredible. And, God certainly can do that.
Yeah.
So, that's
God is in the work of supernaturally intervening.
Yeah.
And there is a step of surrender that we all have to take daily, that we would deny ourselves, die to ourselves, take up our cross, and follow him. And this is what it really looks like.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I hope, listeners, I hope that you've enjoyed today, maybe been challenged by what we've said. I would encourage you, let's take some practical steps. And the practical steps are simple. That is, think of that one person that you may need to forgive, that you've had trouble forgiving, that when their name comes up, you want to spit, whatever it is. It might be a spouse, might be a parent. But just pray that God would move in their hearts. Pray that God might motivate them, maybe not to be fixed like we want them to be fixed, but that their journey with Jesus would be authentic and genuine. So think of that person and pray for them. Maybe that's today's message more than anything.
Yeah.
So,
and if, let me just add.
Please.
If maybe you want us to pray with you.
That's right.
All you have to do is text PRAY to 903-525-1100. And that goes directly to Hickson's office.
Comes right to me.
And we would love to pray with you through that.
That's right.
So as a church, we are a church of prayer. And so we believe that, we know that, and we want to invite you in on it.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
Hey, well, thanks everybody for joining us for the Connect, Grow, Multiply podcast. We'll see you next time. You're listening to the Connect, Grow, Multiply podcast from your friends at Green Acres.